Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Jays Today Show, where today, guys, breaking news. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wants to be a Toronto Blue Jay for the remainder of his career. Now, obviously, we already knew this. He said this multiple times in the past, but he said it yet again, even though they got thumped by the Houston Astros this week at the Rogers Center. And now it leaves the question, just like how the team's been playing, what does the future of this Blue Jay team look like? Does it include Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? And does it include some of these other guys, some of these starting pitchers, some of these one-year guys? Do we sign them back? What is going to happen with the Toronto Blue Jays? We're going to determine all that in the next 3 months, 4 months. But it all starts today because the trade deadline is looming in about less than a month. And we have questions that we need answered. What's up, everybody, and welcome into the chat. I'm doing a little solo podcast today. Nick will be back from his trip visiting family a little bit later. So doing a little solo pod today. So I'll give you kind of my opinion on all my opinions on kind of what's been transpiring and you know, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and whether or not the Blue Jays should make a move in signing him long term. And also some other guys, like I said, the 2025 is kind of the quote-unquote last window of this team. And should the Blue Jays totally sell the team, sell the players is what I'm talking about, and think about 2026? Or should they try to compete in 2025? Because when I look at this team, I mean, just look at how they played against Houston. I mean, there was spots of good play, but the bullpen and the starting rotation is just not there this season. And will it be here next season? Are we going to have a bullpen that's even going to be competitive next year? Are we going to even have a starting rotation that's going to be competitive? And are we even going to have a lineup that's going to be competitive? Because you could do the whole retool strategy with the Toronto Blue Jays, and like, that's cool, and try to compete next year. But I'm afraid that the damage might already be done, and this Blue Jay team might need to think beyond 2025 and start thinking about, well, how can we get better and bounce back faster in 2026? I'm just looking ahead. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to be realistic based on who we have on this team and who we don't have on this team in 2025. What's up, everybody? We've got 80 people in the chat, in this YouTube chat. If you have not done so already, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the boys from Blue Jays Today. Let's transition a little bit over to the big news, which is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. talking about how, hey, guys, I want to be a Blue Jay. Hello? I want to be a Blue Jay still. It's been 6 years, and I still want to be a Toronto Blue Jay. Hello, front office. Guys, I want to be a Blue Jay. Is literally what he's been saying for the past 5 years. Let's transition over here. Vlad Guerrero Jr. This is a Bleacher Report article. Vlad Guerrero Jr. contract, MLB trade rumors. I don't want to leave Blue Jays is the headline of this, written by Andrew Peters. After the Houston series loss, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was asked about his future with the Blue Jays. And right here, guys, per Scott Mitchell from TSN, he said, man, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here all my life. Like, we know, guys, this isn't the first time Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has said, I don't want to leave. I want to be a Blue Jay, whatever, right? But he keeps on going. You know, people are talking about the money situation, the money. Well, it's going to cost us a lot of money. He's going to want $300 million. Well, this is just what he said right here. So take it with a grain of salt. This is what he said. He said, if you scroll down a little bit, I believe it's in this article here. Oh, right here. I skipped over because it wasn't in quotes. He said right here, he said, money isn't something he thinks about. Now, obviously, it's something he doesn't think about. Obviously, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was brought up in a very good situation with his father being a big leaguer. So obviously, money is something he's never really had to concern about. Granted, his agency is definitely a party that would care about how much dollars Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to get. But Vladdy said, my time is going to come. I don't know if it's soon or not, but it's going to come. Now, What's he talking about there? He could be referring to the signing back to the Toronto Blue Jays. It could be referring to just time has come when I get my contract. But he is putting it out there. He is putting all of the chips in the middle. He's saying, I want to be a Blue Jay. And if I'm a Toronto Blue Jay front office and I'm seeing this, I need to get a deal done. But apparently, like we've known, that they have not been close at all to any deal with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his camp. They have not been close. They've gone to so many arbitrations. Last year was the first one they really went to where they had to get a third-party arbitrator involved. And they kept signing them one-year arbitration deals. Boom, 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 boom. And I think that this final year of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Ooh, yeah, a little sound effect. This final year of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you don't go into the arbitration hearings looking to sign a one-year deal. No. You go into the arbitration hearings looking to get a deal done. How much money is he going to cost? Well, I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a lot of people are saying, well, Vladdy's going to want $300 million. How do you know that? Are we just assuming Vladdy's going to want a lot of money because he thinks he deserves it? We're assuming that's what he thinks? Well, honestly, based on the way Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been playing, if we look at his career, guys, I mean, yes, he is a career 132 plus, OPS plus kind of guy. This year, he's having a phenomenal year. This is his second best year. I'm feeling comfortable giving Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a decent amount of change. If you look at the last 4 years where we can really say, like, okay, this is what we're going to assume from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., an OPS plus of 139. I look over at a guy very comparable in Rafael Devers, plays a corner infield position. Yes, Rafael Devers is having a phenomenal year. And if you look at the last 4 years, it's obviously very, very good. OPS plus of 137. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the last 4 years has been slightly better in terms of the OPS plus compared to Rafael Devers. And Rafael Devers makes just over $300 million. So that's a good comparable right there. Okay, if Vladdy wants over $300 million, that is something that Rogers Communication needs to be able to shell out. Granted, who's going to be the GM that's going to be signing Mr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Because if this is a very awkward time in Blue Jay land, because going into this offseason, if the Blue Jays don't make playoffs, well then, who's going to be the GM? Are they going to fire Ross Atkins? A lot of us think so. Maybe they don't. Maybe they keep it going, right? Maybe they want Ross Atkins to continue this dynasty. But if they do fire Ross Atkins, who's the new GM? And is that going to be a top priority for this new GM to want to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Or are they thinking, hey, let's scrap it all and let's get rid of it? I would hope that whoever is running the Blue Jays in this offseason realizes that, hey, we have to make a move on Vladdy and sign him. Because, look, he's going to be 27 when he's an unrestricted free agent. That is the prime of this guy's career. You could sign him for 8 years. Maybe there's some fall off near the end. That's typically what happens with big leaguers anyways. You want to be able to continue a next window for this Blue Jays team. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the only player on this team right now that is warranted that you think that he can continue this level of play. You look over at Bichette, maybe there's some recency bias in here, but you can see how his style of play, unless he makes some sort of adjustment, will not be good in a long-term deal with lots of money. I sometimes compare a Bichette to a Javier Baez, a guy who swings a lot, chases a lot of pitches. Javier Baez was very good when he first came up with the Chicago Cubs. Very good. And he got paid to play like Javier Baez with the Chicago Cubs on the Detroit Tigers. And he has been nothing but ass. Why? Because he refuses to make an adjustment. He refuses to change his approach and shorten up and shrink the strike zone. And I've got a feeling that Bichette, unless he makes that adjustment, that is the career path that I'm seeing for him, where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. continues to make adjustments and they continue to work for him. I feel way more comfortable signing a Mr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm seeing some comments in the chat saying, fire Atkins ASAP. Yeah, I mean, that's what would have to happen if you want to sign a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I got a comment here from Colin Anthony saying, Offense is bad. Bullpen is worse. Starting pitching is below average. Management is clueless. Coaches are terrible and have nobody in the farm system. We have a top 10 payroll is in MLB. Franchise is done. In all capitals, franchise is done. Well, that's the thing, right? Look, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., super exciting news that he wants to be a Blue Jay for the rest of his career. Absolutely. Absolutely love that for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I think we should smash it. And I think in the offseason, regardless of who the GM is, we should do it. And we should think about the next wave of this team. I feel like I'm going to bash my head against the wall several times over because management is a little bit too stubborn to realize, like I said off the top of this show in this podcast, we cannot win with this roster for all the reasons that Carl Anthony is saying right now. I just wanted to flash over before moving on to this next topic, which is what the hell is this Blue Jay team doing and what should we do about the future of this team? Well, if we take a look, guys, at the team team ERA right here, y'all can see it. There we go on the video platform. I'll read it out for you guys on the audio. Team ERA, it's 15th in baseball. The bullpen is even worse than that. I believe they are 30th in all of Major League Baseball. So the rotation is actually pulling up a little bit of weight, but a 4.06 ERA, mid-rotation. Then you look at the team hitting. It is bad. We are down here 18th in baseball. Granted, it was a lot worse. It's starting to get a little bit better, but you can see that this team is just really going nowhere. And when you look at this upcoming trade deadline and you think, I gotta get that sound effect off, guys. Every time I switch back to this, it plays. When you look at this roster construction, well, okay, we're going to sell some one-year guys at the deadline. Who are those guys going to be? It's going to be Jimmy Garcia, a great bullpen guy. Yusei Kikuchi, a good fourth starter. We're going to sell Mr. Justin Turner, middle of a lineup guy, right? We're going to sell off all these little pieces here and there. Kevin Kiermaier, if we can get anything from him, that'd be a miracle. Danny Jansen, that's a guy that is huge and critical for the success of a 2025 team. He could be gone after this year. If we start selling off all these pieces, okay, sure, you can go into free agency and sign some more guys, but how much money do we have to spend? When I look over at the payroll of the Toronto Blue Jays, we actually don't have that much money to spend. Those guys that we're selling off is about $42 million. So what are you going to do? Go buy the equivalent of the guys that we're selling off for $42 million to try and compete in 2025 with this roster? Does that really make a lot of sense? It feels like you need to do what we've been saying all offseason, bring in superstars. You're going to get maybe one superstar and then have a bunch of holes if you wanted to go that route. It's just not possible. Looking over here, 2025 payroll. This is without arbitration, by the way, so this actually doesn't even include Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract right here that he will eventually get, maybe $25 million. He could be if you go arbitration or maybe they sign him to the deal. So let's say you have him and all the other arbitration guys. You're looking at about $190 million for 2025 that you've already spent. That's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money. Maybe I'm being a pessimist, but I just don't think, based on what we've seen, that we can get it done. Let's transition a little bit. I've been kind of going on a little bit of a tangent. You guys know my opinion and how I feel about this team, but let's look at how the team's playing so far, guys. We have now a 2.3% chance to make playoffs. A 2.3% chance according to Fangraphs. Let me just take a sip of this coffee and let that sink in. It's done. It's done, guys. The season is over. We're 9 games below 500. It is now time to look ahead at who we're going to sell. Like I said, a lot of the one-year guys are up for grabs, right? But a lot of people are coming out with a lot of opinions on why the Blue Jays should not sell it all and do a big rebuild, like I'm kind of saying, but in fact, they should retool the roster. And right here, Steve Phillips from TSN comes out with an article that, well, yes, they should sell off these guys like Yusei Kikuchi, Danny Jansen, Justin Turner, Kevin Kiermaier, Jimmy Garcia, Trevor Richards, right? That would be $41 million, like I was kind of saying, right? Sell them all off because guess what? We still have Jose Barrios. We've got Kevin Gausman. We've got Chris Bassett. He also spelled Bassett's name wrong. No, sorry, Steve Phillips. He spelled Bassett's name wrong. Jordan Romano, he'll be back next year. They still got Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Oh, but they also got catcher Alejandro Kirk and Dalton Varsho. But then we also got all these guys, David Schneider, Ernie Clement, Aston Barger, Spencer Horwitz, and George Springer. What's the problem here, guys? Again, no disrespect to Steve Phillips right here. This is obviously his opinion, but my opinion here, what's the problem here? What's the problem? Well, you've got Jose Berrios, great player. Love that we have him. Kevin Gausman has kind of hit a weird hiccup. If he bounces back, that's great. Chris Bassett, great year. Awesome. If all goes right, let's assume all goes right, and Jose Berrios is great, Kevin Gausman's great, Chris Bassett's great. Awesome. Well, we still have two missing pieces of the rotation. Now you got to either fill in with a guy in free agency, or you got to fill up with Ricky Tiedemann. But how many innings are we going to get from Ricky Tiedemann? Yariel Rodriguez, great outing his last time, but what are we going to get from him? Question marks. We don't know. Oh, we still got Jordan Romano. Okay, if he's healthy to play next year, is he going to bounce back and be Jordan Romano of the old? Do we know that for sure? But who's the supporting cast members? Chad Green? That's it? Chad Green. Are we going to go out and sign guys? Bullpen guys? Well, that's costing more money. We only have $41 million to play with. Remember, guys, not that much money to really be playing with in this offseason. Okay, so we maybe get one bullpen guy, maybe one rotation piece for cheap. Is that going to be enough? Not based on what we're seeing so far this year. And then, yes, we have guys like David Schneider, Ernie Clement, Addison Barger, Spencer Horwitz. That's awesome. That's great. But what are they going to become? Question marks, right? Are we really banking on question marks? Although I will say Spencer Horwitz, I believe, is pretty legit. David Schneider, we know what he is at this point. But again, we need more. We need more. George Springer, we know what George Springer is going to be. There's no need to talk about this anymore. Alejandro Kirk catching this team moving forward is a disaster. Granted, he's actually a very good defensive catcher. There were some metrics out there that he's like one of the top 5 catchers defensively in the league. Go look it up, guys. I'm literally not bullshitting you. He's better. But offensively, a whole. Dalton Varsho. We know what Dalton Varsho is going to be. Great defense. Bat, not so good. So do you see what the problem is here? Okay, you sell off the one-year guys, and then what? You don't have much money to spend. You're expecting everybody to be good. If everybody's great, cool. Do we maybe squeak into the playoffs and then get wiped out again? What is that going to do, right? Maybe I'm being pessimistic, but this does not look like a winning formula when we're seeing it this year not being a winning formula, even with all these guys, Kikuchi, Jansen, Turner, Jimmy, Kevin, Trevor, a lot of them having decently good years for their careers, right? It's tough, guys. It's, again, no disrespect to Steve Phillips, but that's where I come in and I say it cannot be a retool. You might need to consider doing a little bit more. And what I'm talking about here, and hopefully this sound effect doesn't play right here. It did. Okay, kind of played. What I'm talking about here is you got to sell a little bit more. Ross Atkins will never do this, but maybe they do it with the new GM in the offseason. I seriously think the Blue Jays need to consider trading away Bichette. I was actually on the golf course talking to a guy who was a big Blue Jay fan, and he echoed my thoughts completely. Not that he is the right person to be talking about this, but hear me out. Bichette's trade value will never be higher than it is right now. People think we're going to sell low on Bichette. I think we're going to sell the highest. Why? Well, think of it this way. Bichette doesn't get traded, you sell him in the offseason. Well, now you're buying 1 year of Bichette after a full sample size of a crummy season. That will be pretty low. That will be much lower than it is right now. If he bounces back, great. Then maybe it's about the same as it is right now, right? Maybe it's about the same because you're buying an extra year and a chance to go to the playoffs with them if I'm a playoff team, right? Okay, so he has a crummy year or a decent year. It will be equal or less, in my opinion. Then you go into the next trade deadline. If he's even crummier or just as crummy, you're getting basically no value at the next year's trade deadline. If he's great, awesome. Still less value than he is right now because he's only got half a year of control. So right now, actually, in my opinion, you could disagree with me. This might be the highest trade value you'll get from Bichette. He will not be traded, though, because it's Ross Atkins, and I hope to God he reconsiders because it's time to do that's how you get back faster. Get some top prospects that are ready to go in the next couple years. Big ones that could be impact players. Sam kind of agreeing with me. Yep. And Laura Lee Z saying Bo Bichette's been checked out completely. Let Bo sit for a few games if not traded. Yep, I agree. So I'm glad you can kind of see. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I want to hear if you do disagree with me. Next up, consider trading either Gausman or Chris Bassitt. Chris Bassitt has a ton of value right now. One more year remaining in that last year in 2025. Why trade Chris Bassitt? Yes, he's very good. But again, for the reasons that I've just been saying a little bit earlier, if everything goes right with the current roster we have and Chris Bassitt's great, what are we? A fringe, maybe wild card, maybe team that gets swept in the first round. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's it. And then you get no value from Chris Bassitt because you're going to want to keep him and go and compete at the best. You'll get so much value from a team that would want a Chris Bassitt right now. If they were to trade Chris Bassitt, who replaces him in the rotation? Well, great question, Xtrode from the YouTube chat. If we're selling it all and we're punting next year, who cares who pitches in the rotation next year and at the rest of the season? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Right, think about it. Who actually cares? Because if we're going to sell off this year, we're going to lose anyways. Okay, maybe in the offseason, we trade away Chris Bassitt. We open up a little bit more cap space. We open up a little bit more payroll. You can go sign a one-year Band-Aid guy that it doesn't really matter. Just go eat innings, right? That's the problem. Or that's the thing. Who cares? Same thing with Kevin Gausman. He's got 2 more years after this. Trade value is pretty low right now, I'll be honest. But if you do trade him, I mean, that would be, you're buying lots of years of Kevin Gausman. I don't know what a trade would look like there. Probably more on the Chris Bassitt side of things. But that's going a little bit more into the retool. You're not trading away everything. You're keeping a lot of your guys. But you have to think beyond 2025. Because if you go down the way that I'm saying, and you trade Bo, you trade Bassitt, you just punt 2025. You bring up all the young guys. You bring up Ricky T. Maybe you bring up a top prospect that you just traded for. See what he's got, right? You let all the Buffalo boys play. You let them play. You see what happens this year. This is the year where we're just gonna see what happens. What do we got? You extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You know he's your dude, right? Great. And look, Carl Anthony's saying the problem is the Blue Jays have nobody in their farm system. Well, there you go. You go get guys to replace the farm system, right? That's what I'm saying. You let the prospects you already have that are younger, Barriera, Arjun Namala, you let them develop a little bit more. You take a little bit more time, right? That's why I think this retool strategy might be actually not committing to one side or another. I could be wrong. Of course, this is my opinion. This is how I would run a team. Also, just shouting out to Keegan Matheson's article, going against everything I'm saying, saying that as the deadline looms, the Blue Jays need to preserve their biggest strength, which is the starting rotation. And I hear him out. I've met Keegan Matheson, great guy, great opinions. I also feel like they might need to consider trading away the starting rotation because it's just mid. If our biggest strength is our rotation and we're a 4.06 ERA, 15th in baseball, how many innings have we thrown? Again, 15th in baseball. I mean, this is our biggest strength. Like, we kind of suck. You know what I mean? We kind of suck. So I hope you guys hear what I'm saying and that the Blue Jays should maybe look beyond. Hey, if you do, now on the flip side of things, if you do want to try and compete next year, if you do sell Chris Bassitt, if you do get rid of Bo Bichette in his contract, if you get rid of obviously all the one-year guys, maybe you clear up $70 million of payroll, right? It'd be like $70 million. Well, if you really did want to compete in 2025 one last time, not saying it's smart or good, or I mean, if they did buy in for 2025, obviously I'm going to be all on board because I'm a Blue Jay fan. I'm like, let's go Jays, right? But if you look at this here, you could go buy some guys. I mean, look at the guys who are going to be free agents next year. Cody Bellinger. Oh, he's got an opt-out. You could buy Teoscar Hernandez, right? You could go as crazy and think, hey, maybe let's get Alex Bregman, right? You could go wild. There's a lot of Michael Conforto, Josh Bell, Kenley Jansen, right? There's guys out there that we might want to consider. Hey, Max Fried, sign that dude. That would be a lot of money, though. But there's, Jack Flaherty's having a great year. Why not sign him? There's Shane Bieber, take a dart throw. You know what I mean? There's guys out there that you could possibly consider putting on this team if you did want to go all the way. Real quick, guys, shout out to everybody who's in the chat right now in the YouTube chat. We've got 140 people in here. I'm doing a little solo stream right now, the Solo Blue Jays Today show. If you haven't already, guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today. I'm going to read some of your comments right here. Burns, LOL, he'll make a fortune. Yeah, I mean, Corbin Burns is going to cost an arm and a leg. I mean, absolutely. Will Manoah be ready to start the season next year? That's the thing. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Manoah's at a point, guys, where, hey, if he's ready to go and he's healthy, cool. If he's not, no need to rush him back again. Like, we're not like we're in dire need of starting pitching. Take your time. We're in a very different spot. We're all used to the mindset of we need to get our good guys back. We need to get everybody playing. We need to win ball games. We need to, sign all these guys. We're at a different mindset right now. Right now, we need to sell, see what we have before going back in, right? Let's save a bit of payroll. We spent the most money ever this season. We need to consider holding on to a lot of our young guys, long contract guys, like long contract guys as in rookie contracts, and preserve as much money as possible so that when we look like that these young guys are actually looking like, hey, we got a team here, we deserve some more free agent help, we can go and we can buy in. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's talk about this past week of baseball. I almost said Mariners. We're going to be facing the Mariners this weekend. We're going to break down that whole series. Houston Astros coming to town, and they absolutely spank us. They pull down our pants, and they spank us. They're on an amazing run right now. They are dominating the Houston Astros. They are dominating. Looking at the box score, guys, in the last 4 days, Houston Astros beat us on Monday. Brutal showing. The offense did not show up. Bichette in the leadoff spot. I don't know what John Schneider was thinking there at all. However, on the Astros side of things, Hunter Brown's been on an absolute mission. He had a horrible start to the year, and he continues his good start. I think he had like a 1.4 ERA in the last month of baseball, if I'm not mistaken. Dominates us. We run into good pitching. We can't beat him. But then we win on Tuesday. We go up 7-0 after the 4th inning. And then the bullpen. Or was it the bullpen? I think it was. No, Jose Barrios did actually squander a few. 5 earned runs. And then I think we had a little defensive error. And we almost lost it. 7-6. Blue Jays, we just barely hang on. And then it was Wednesday. And we get absolutely thumped. Absolutely thumped. I was live for that game. I had the clown nose out. Absolutely thumped. Offense, where were you? Absolutely thumped. Kikuchi had a good outing, but then the bullpen, the Jose Causer, I don't even know how to say his last name, just embarrassed. 3 pitches, RBI single, hit by pitch, RBI. I mean, that's it, man. Again, I look back to thinking, everyone's saying retool. The bullpen's in shambles. We have guys like Jose Causer throwing innings that we're pitching against the middle of the Houston Astros lineup with Jose Causer. It's in shambles. And then yesterday, we actually got 10 hits. We out-hit them, but we could not score with runners in scoring position. Just cannot beat the good teams. And now we are moving on to the next series, guys. We're moving on. It sucks to see. Good luck in Seattle. Also, guys, by the way, I don't believe we are going live tonight for the game. It's at 9:40. We have an early wake-up tomorrow. I don't believe we're going to be going live for the game. And honestly, guys, at this point, I think for the month of July, yes, we're still going to be doing live play-by-plays, of course. Of course we're going to be doing live play-by-plays. Lots of cloud noses, lots of clown music to be played all season long. But I think we got to start doing some live trade deadline watching, some videos about who's getting traded, what are the latest rumors out there, because that honestly, for this month of July, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. It's pronounced Quas. Yeah. Quas. There you go. Yeah, let's move on to the series, guys. Speaking of which, let's move on to the series. Seattle Mariners are actually doing not so good recently. They've been kind of scuffling. They are almost... did they lose the American League West? Let me look this up. I believe they might have been almost... Yeah, no, they're 2 games above the Houston Astros. So Houston Astros go take some games from us. Now Seattle wants to take some games from the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's break it down, everybody. You've got, in this game tonight at 9:40 Eastern Standard Time, you've got Kevin Gausman going up against Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, he's been great. Kevin Gausman, he has not been. However, the offense of the Seattle Mariners has been pretty abysmal. It's been pretty ass. I am going to be honest. Honestly, I think because we flew over to the West Coast, we're a little jet lagged, time zone all messing us up. We're playing a late game. Gausman's been bad. Castillo's been good. I think we're going to lose this one, guys. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think we're going to lose it. Which brings me to the next segment, guys. Time to shout out the sponsor of this video. The sponsor of this video is Betway.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway. If you guys are sports bettors, first make sure you bet responsibly and bet with Betway. This one, they knew. Betway knew. They're good. They're good. Betway knew that this one would be a low-scoring affair. I'm taking the under on 8.5 runs in this one, and I'm saying that the Blue Jays offense doesn't get cooking like they haven't been, and we can't get any hits against Luis Castillo. We can't score many runs. Gausman will be good, but not that great. I mean, the Seattle Mariners offense is just so bad that it's gonna be low scoring. I'm gonna say we lose this one 3-2, low scoring. I'm taking this bet on Betway. Moving on, game 2. We've got Rodriguez against a TBD pitcher. I think they were going with a 4-man rotation. They got a lot of injuries in their bullpen or in their rotation. I think it might be a bullpen day, maybe AAA guy call up. Rodriguez had a great start his last time out, but a horrible one his time before that. And it's tough to predict what we're going to get from a Yariel Rodriguez. I'm just looking over at Sunday. Oh, God. I think we win Saturday. I think we do. I think we thump all over these bullpen day, maybe AAA guy call up, and Rodriguez is good enough. I think the offense may come alive in this one. But then on Sunday, it's bad. Barrios is going to be great. He's going to give 3. He's going to be great. He's been great. But Kirby, man, he has been so good this year. And great pitchers against the Blue Jays are just a thorn in our size. I say we got to lose this series, so I think we lose this one. Kirby's just going to outmatch us, and we're going to lose this series 1-2. That would put our record at 40-50. Oh my God. 40-50, everyone. 40-50. If you were to ask me preseason, hey Adam, at game 90, you're going to be 40-50. What are the odds of that happening? I'd be like, nah, there's no way. Maybe, I don't know, a 4% odd, 5% odd maybe. Wow, I never saw this coming. And it's sad. But again, guys, I'm not trying to, as we move on in this Blue Jay next window, I guess you want to call it, literally the next window of the Blue Jays, I don't want to ever give the impression that I'm off this team or I hate this team or I'm going to be very frustrated at this team. I'm obviously still going to root for them, but I'm rooting for them in a different way. When I say who cares if they lose or not lose, it's because this season we're punting it away. Let's focus on the future seasons, 2026, 2027. Let's focus on that. Because if we do that, then we might have some better success. Because it didn't work. It didn't work this year. And I'm fully coming to terms with it. I was kind of coming to terms with it about a week and a half ago. The Yankee series was like giving me a little bit of hope, but then we couldn't pull through that one. And it's over. The Jays season is over, and now it's trade deadline time, and it's time to focus on the future. I really hope to God that we see some sort of rumor coming out that the Blue Jays are considering to trade Bichette. Because if you're going to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., then you might as well trade away Bichette. That's been the conversation too. What are we going to do with Bichette? Well, we got to pay him. Well, now you don't. Now you don't. If he's going to be checked out, he's going to be swinging at garbage, he's going to be not really caring about whether he gets traded or not, then move on. It's time to move on. And it sucks to say, but this is it, guys. This is it. The window, and we'll see after this trade deadline. The window could be a little bit cracked open if Ross Atkins gives them a little bit of playing room with keeping Bichette and Bassett. But if you trade Bichette and Bassett, boom. The Toronto Blue Jays window will have been officially closed. But guys, we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see on what the Blue Jays do in this trade deadline. Guys, lots of lives coming up soon. We're going to be watching and looking at all these trade rumors. I'm hoping some things get cooking, especially after this All-Star break. If you haven't already on the YouTube platform, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Blue Jays Today. We'll be back again Monday. Sunday, we had a live watch along. Monday, a Blue Jays Today show. I got a video coming out tomorrow talking about Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the likelihood of them signing them back. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, guys,